I think most of us do our very best to avoid talking about, thinking about, and certainly having to handle death. My name is Violet Newby, and I'd like to welcome you to Paint a Beautiful Picture. This is episode number 247, What is Life? Of course, I can tell you that as a nurse, we determine when life ends because breath and the heartbeat cease. But I've seen an awful lot of persons who were breathing and had a heartbeat, but they had a pretty lifeless life. Some of that was physiological in persons in a coma or persons with severe brain damage or dementia, someone who is paralyzed and they've basically given up on life. They don't want to eat or drink, though they can, and they're just ready to be finished with it all. They get pretty lifeless. Some of it is psychological. People who gave up a long time ago, they're barely going through the motions of whatever it takes to get through the day. They sit in front of the television set nonstop, just feeding trash into their mind. I know someone quite well in their mid-60s, as a matter of fact, who's never worked a day in their life. I won't even denote what gender. And they're proud of that. They've done a lot of crazy stuff, but they've just spent most of their life being high or drunk or sitting in front of a television set or doing video games. Seriously, can you imagine that? Almost 45 years of your adult life doing absolutely nothing meaningful? Wow, I'm sorry, that's pretty lifeless. What is life? If you love your child, I want to strongly challenge you to introduce your child to a full and meaningful life. In order for you to do that, A, you have to know what that is. B, you have to know how to have that happen. C, ideally, you should be living that kind of life your own self so you can demonstrate to your children what that looks like. And then you need to be able to describe that to your child and facilitate it happening. Okay. I had a really traumatic event happen to me in the last couple of weeks. I have a cat that I dearly love, who I had for over 10 years, and he got really sick. I didn't know if he was going to be okay or not. He actively bled for a couple days, and then he stopped, and he started eating and drinking and acting normally again. I was like, okay, I'm not sure what that was, but we're okay. And about 4 or 5 days later, he got extremely sick again. He ended up dying. Animals instinctively go somewhere to hide when they are going to die. They don't want you to see it. My cat was the same way. For 5 days, he did not eat or drink. And he's not a crybaby, so he didn't cry, he didn't fight me, but it was a real struggle. The last 12 to 15 hours of his life were horrid, and I was with him. About an hour before he died, he tried to get away. He couldn't even walk, but he really wanted to get away. He wanted to instinctively go somewhere to hide and die. And I told him, no, I made a commitment to you that I will be with you the whole entire time, and I'm going to be. And I stayed with him in that last hour, and it was horrific. It was so hard watching him fight so much not to leave. He did not want to leave. And the entire time his eyes were locked right on mine. He didn't even sleep the last 12 hours of his life. He wasn't going to leave me. I've held babies and little children as they've died because of some of the relief work that I've done. And oftentimes they just kind of drift away. I've been with quite a number of adults as they died, and I can truthfully say most of the adults that I've been with have gone reasonably calmly. I was with one old guy that really fought. He lived a very evil life. He told me about that, and he was sure that he was going to go to hell. He felt like he deserved it, and the way he fought tenaciously for that one last breath was really, really tragic and heart-wrenching to see. If life is all that valuable, we better find out something about how to live it. Don't you agree? Life is a series of events. It is definitely that. It is possible that it can be a series of meaningful events and rich and precious, meaningful relationships. And certainly, it is an opportunity for great personal growth and development, if in fact that's what we choose to do with it. My challenge question for you today is, how's the quality of your life? Because I can honestly tell you, it is predominantly up to you. If you have a really pathetic quality of life, that's pretty much on you. I need you to know that. If you have a great quality of life, it actually probably has a lot to do with how you think and what you have determined in your own spirit and the manner in which you live. Let's get down to this for just a couple of minutes. If there are things you absolutely love, you love to ski, and you haven't gone skiing in 15 years. You love to draw, but you don't have a single thing in the house. No good quality paper, no pencils, no easel. You love to run, but you're now 50 pounds overweight. You don't even own a pair of running shoes. Who's responsible for this? Have tragic news for you. You are. Do something about this. If you love something and you never do it and you don't even have provision to do it, that's on you. And I hear people tell me all the time, you just don't understand. I'm so busy. I have my wife. I have my job. I have my kids. I have my home. Yeah, and don't we all? That's a lame excuse. So I'm going to call you on that. You, in fact, choose what you do. Don't misunderstand me here. I'm not saying neglect your wife, neglect your kids, neglect your job, neglect your house, neglect your life, and go do whatever you want to do 24 hours around the clock for the next 10 years. That's not exactly what I'm saying to you. But I am saying to you, you need to make provision in your time and in your internal and external world for what you love. Because after all, that is a huge part of loving your life. If you do everything that you hate every second of every day, that's not much of a life, okay? So first of all, find out what you love, and then by all means, make a way for it to happen. Not every day, but certainly you can go skiing a couple times a year. And yeah, you might actually have to quit going to Starbucks and going out to eat at McDonald's 5 days a week at lunchtime. I get that. You might actually have to save some cash and quit living carelessly. But you should be doing what you love. And oh my goodness, are we ever going to talk about work for a minute? If you hate your job, I mean, hate it, and you hate your boss, I mean, she's a real blank, okay? And you cannot stand most of the people that you work with. For pity's sake, get another job. I mean, seriously now. I'm not kidding you. It's pathetic to spend 30 or 40 years of your life doing something that you absolutely despise. I cannot believe how often I talk to people and they say, yeah, I hate what I do, but I'm kind of stuck. Are you really? That's up to you. You do understand that, right? And in today's world, oh my gracious me. So you go on the internet and you start looking at people who need this or people who need that and things that you can do. And you can get another job. I'm dead serious. In the last couple of years after COVID, when so many people changed their work environment, they're working from home or they're doing part of going to work and part of working from home, so many things have changed. Don't stay stuck in something that you absolutely hate. That's 8 or 10 hours of your day, every day, 5 days a week. That's way too much of your life to be wasting on something that's making you miserable. It's not worth however much cash they're giving you. I'm serious about this. So really look at your work life. If you just hate it, then I'm begging you, if you have to take night classes, whatever you have to do, find a way to find work that is meaningful and has an element of joyfulness in it, because that's going to make your life so different. If you just love being miserable and you love belly aching and complaining every day, well, I can't help you there. Keep the same lousy job. But if in fact you hear what I'm saying to you, then do something else. Honest to goodness, because this is the only life you're going to get. This is not a dress rehearsal. This is the real deal right here, day after day. You need to live it in a way that is meaningful and purposeful. And about your wife and your kids, about your man and your kids, let me say something to you. If you're constantly complaining about them, if you're like, oh, I can't stand it, and I really hate this, and they're on my nerves, and do you know what? That's your attitude. So let me say it to you straight to your face. If you have a lousy attitude, deal with it. Because A, it's not doing you any good, and B, it's making everyone around you miserable. Is that really what you want to do with your life? Maybe it is, but if it is, why don't you become a hermit and go somewhere and live in a cave and like just be miserable alone? Why in the world do you have to take 5 or 6 other people with you and make their life the pits because you're miserable? Get over it, okay? I'm really serious about this. It made me look so hard at what life is. And my gracious, you need to be enjoying life. Life is meant to enjoy. There is so much beauty. I'm staying with and helping care for a lady with Alzheimer's. She can't keep track of the plot of a movie. 10 minutes later, she's asking me, who are those people and what are they doing? Sometimes it really gets on my nerves. So last night, I went to, I believe I was on Amazon, maybe Netflix, and I came across this series about the earth. There's no talking, and it's called Moving Art. And it literally goes to beautiful places. There was an episode in Tahiti and one in New Zealand. Oh my gracious. It shows you fish and butterflies and forest and waterfalls. It is just so glorious. We watched this for 2 hours. I kid you not. It really kept her engaged because the scenery was constantly changing and had really beautiful orchestral music behind it. There is so much beautiful stuff in the world. It is entirely up to you what you look at. You have that remote in your hand and you're watching people killing each other and people fighting and hating each other and cussing each other from one end to the other, or you're looking at something really beautiful. That's entirely up to you. And guess what? Inside of your mind, what you're processing, things that are lovely and beautiful and worthwhile and wonderful, or all this, I hate this person and this person said this and I wish I, and yeah, this is your decision. It is. And it is your life. What is life? Life is choice after choice after choice, moment after moment after moment. If you are kind to your family, if you are giving generously to your family, if you are conversing with your people that you love and care about so much, if you are spending meaningful time with your friends, if you are honoring your commitments, if you are enjoying most of the time, 70 to 80%, the work that you're doing and you're feeling productive and like it's meaningful and rich, that is your life. It is not just a breath and a heartbeat. It is so much more. What is life? Life is an opportunity. So I beg you, make use of the opportunity that you have every single day when you open up your eyes to love God, love others, love yourself, serve God, serve others, serve yourself, give generously, and receive willingly. Man, I really hope that you are doing what it takes in love for the people around you and even in love for yourself, as well as a deep and abiding love for God, that you are living your life in a way that is meaningful. Thank you so much for being with me today. I will look forward to seeing you again soon. You may find additional information on our paintabeautifulpicture.com website. Additionally, you may watch me on Rumble, and you may also listen to a podcast on Buzzsprout or Spreaker. all under the name Paint a Beautiful Picture. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. You may subscribe, and if you are interested in receiving notifications, please hit the notifications button.